All right, so picture this. You're trying to follow a massive global conflict, right? And you're watching it all unfold on a live stream. Information is just flying at you, and the person running the stream is trying to make sense of it all in real time. It's just pure chaos, you know? And you're smack in the middle of this digital fog of war. So, first up, you hear this really clear, confident claim of success. A voice just declares that enemy missiles are getting totally wiped out. It paints this picture of a complete, overwhelming victory. Sounds pretty decisive, right? Almost like it's all over. But then, bam, not even a second later, the screen shows you a totally opposite story. This headline says the enemy isn't just fighting back, they're actually hitting back hard, over and over, with these super advanced weapons. So, which one is it? Who are you supposed to believe? And here's where it gets really interesting. Even the streamer, the guy who's supposed to be our guide through all this, he doesn't buy it. He immediately starts questioning what he's seeing. Is it a meme? Is it AI? That's the moment this whole information war gets personal. And that, right there, brings us to the biggest question we're tackling today. When a crisis is blowing up online and anyone can post anything to millions of people, and you've got tech that can create totally convincing fakes, how in the world do you figure out what's real? So, in the middle of all this digital chaos, you have the official sources, and they are working hard, really hard, to create one single, clear story. They have to cut through all that noise. So let's take a look at how they do it, starting with this press briefing for an operation they called Epic Fury. I mean, that message could not be any clearer, could it? This is the opening line from the Secretary of War. It's not some careful, cautious statement. No, it's a declaration of absolute dominance. It's all about projecting strength and controlling the story from the very start.
So the way they build this narrative of victory is just crucial. It's a series of really specific, powerful claims. Let's just walk through them. First, they say they have total control of the sky. Done. Second, they boast about firepower on a scale we've never seen before. Third, they point to these huge symbolic wins, like sinking a famous warship. And finally, they announce a decapitation strategy, basically taking out the enemy's leaders to throw them into chaos. This isn't just a battle plan, it's using storytelling as a weapon of war.
And just to make sure the sheer scale of this whole thing really lands, they put a number on it, 7. This isn't just another fight, they're saying. No, this is 7 times more intense than anything that's come before. It's a simple, powerful number that's really easy to remember and, more importantly, to repeat. Okay, so let's pivot. While the officials are carefully crafting that message, a totally different kind of battle is just raging on social media. This is where that clean official story gets challenged, it gets twisted, and it gets buried under a complete avalanche of other content. And this slide just perfectly illustrates the problem. On the left, you have a tweet from a US congresswoman who has over 5 million followers showing this horrific image claiming it's from the war. And on the right, the reality. The photo is years old and it's not even from the right continent. This isn't just some small mistake. This is massive misinformation hitting millions of people in an instant. You know, the streamer's commentary here just nails the strategy. He points out that for a lot of people in this information war, there's just no penalty for being wrong. The goal isn't to be truthful, it's to get an emotional reaction, to shape how you see things. And if they get caught in a lie, they just ignore it and move on to the next one. There is zero accountability. Okay, so this is where it gets even more complicated. I mean, it's one thing to debunk a photo that's provably false, but what about all this stuff that lives in that gray area? The content that could be real, but could also be a really sophisticated fake. This is where the real confusion starts to creep in. Take this image of a missile strike, for example. It looks dramatic, it looks believable, but your first instinct now is probably to question it. Just like we saw on the stream, the immediate reaction from people watching was, is that real? In this environment, our default setting is slowly shifting from belief to just doubt. Or think about this. We see these dramatic videos of crowds all the time, right? But it's becoming super common for people to just dub audio from a totally unrelated event, like a loud NFL game, over the footage, just to make a protest or a rally seem way bigger and more intense than it actually was. They can trick your eyes and your ears separately. And then there's the next frontier, AI. The streamer sees what looks like this incredible footage of a dogfight, something that hasn't happened in decades. But is it real, Or is it a clip from a video game? Or something that an AI just made up? It's becoming almost impossible for a normal person to tell the difference anymore. So get this, in response to all this chaos, official military groups like U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, they're now forced to become professional fact-checkers. They have to release slides, just like this one, directly knocking down specific claims one by one. The other side claims U.S. forces are withdrawing. CENTCOM says, nope, that's false. We're actually expanding. They claim they sank a U.S. destroyer. CENTCOM says, wrong again. Actually, we sank over 20 of your boats. This is what war looks like now. Military commands fighting it out on social media. So what's the big takeaway from all of this? Why does this endless, chaotic stream of conflicting information actually matter to you? Well, it matters because it shows us that the front line of any modern conflict, it's no longer just some physical place on a map. In this new kind of war, narratives are the weapons. They're used to build support or to crush an enemy's morale. And social media? That's the battlefield where it all goes down. Every single one of us who shares or likes or posts something, we're a potential soldier in that fight, whether we realize it or not. And this part is so important. Sometimes the goal isn't even to make you believe a lie. The goal is just to create so much confusion that you give up trying to figure out what to believe at all. You know, we've all heard that old saying that truth is the first casualty of war. But maybe that's not quite right anymore. The truth is probably still out there somewhere, but it's buried under a mountain of fakes and propaganda and just noise. Today, the real first casualty is clarity. It's the ability to feel confident that you actually know what's going on. And that leaves us with one last really crucial question. When you're the target in this information war, and the whole point is to make you confused and uncertain, how do you arm yourself? How do you even begin to fight back and find what's real?